I've never been exposed to this franchise at all, except when people on the Spawnwave and Spawnwave podcast mentioned this game. I thought it was some generic RPG, but once this game was shown from a Nintendo Direct, if I remember correctly, then I was either confused or like, this is Panzer Dragoon? In fact, I decided to look up the original game and skim through the gameplay, and it looked to be the same shit as the modern remake. And it looks like to be a series of games, which I didn't think it was all that big of a franchise, but it is. And if you can't tell, I wasn't all that impressed with the game. It was released on March 26, 2020 with an average to good reviews. Since it took me literally one sitting to play this shit, this is the myth, the legend, Squidward 5, and this is my gaming essay on Panzer Dragoon Remake. For this game, we will be skipping the story since the game literally puts all the text in the beginning and whatever the story it has in the cutscenes are there to give reason. This type of storytelling used here is literally being thrown away to just give us gameplay, so let's just see how it is then. The gameplay is quite simple. It's just an on-rail shooter with a dragon in which you shoot your enemies in a generic looking area. There are 7 stages and each besides the last 2 contain a boss fight at the end. The 6th stage is just throwing everything at you, and 7 is a pathetic excuse for a final boss fight, and that's the game.
Yes, you can earn some new moves once you beat the game and some cheat stuff, but I could have cared less for this game. From the skim through of the original game, I think it looked very similar in terms of gameplay. But with this remake, I feel like it's more of a port than a remake, since it's all just a Sega Saturn port, but made it look better for modern consoles. What they have here is not bad by any means, but it feels like the game has nothing going for it other than being a shooter. If this game wants to stand out and make people want to play it, they need to make this game its own thing, like add a skill tree or a new move for your dragon that can do during the fights to help with player engagement. The easy mode in this game is piss easy and I only died once. And oh, did I mention you have to manually move your view in order to shoot projectiles at your enemies? This is not only pathetic, but also the game itself feels dated and doesn't have an identity because it doesn't have anything going for it. And that's why it's a piece of shit fucking game! To keep this quick, the presentation and graphics are just there. They don't really do much. Loading screens are boring as hell and don't have a sound when it's ready to move to the game. Instead, it's silence. Graphically, this just does the bare minimum for graphics and it's boring as hell. And the music is probably forgettable since the game does nothing for me. And all of this is just there because it needs visuals, because it's a fucking video game. I know people like this series and I know many people like this game, and that is totally fine, but I definitely don't see the appeal here. The story is not present most of the time, the gameplay lacks identity other than being an arcadic shooter, and the presentation itself just does the bare minimum because it needs to. The team should reboot the series and do something new with it because this is not working personally. I'll give this a fuck you out of 10. I paid around $2.49 if that's the right number on the eShop. And I can tell it's for that much you get for the game. $2 for a fucking piece of shit game. So yeah, this game fucking sucks. Fuck this game.